Okay guys, here's the third lesson for this week, and this puts together lesson 1 and lesson 2 to solve the ultimate problem, which is a 3x4 system from the beginning to the end. Alright, so I'm doing this a little differently. I'm using my computer this time, and I want to see if this works. So let's see if I can write legibly, because I'm using the mouse to writing the numbers, so if it's sloppy, forgive me. So let's see what we're gonna do. Alright, so if I look at my system, remember you have 3 equations, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Alright, now I gotta scan through my equations and I gotta look for my good twin and bad twin. Alright, and if you notice, it's right over here, the plus 4y and the minus 4y. All right, and what you did yesterday is you had to write equation 1 and equation 3 right on top of each other. So I'm going to do that first. So I get to this slide. All right, this was equation 1 and equation 3. All right, the reason why we did that is so we can cross out the y twins. All right, and one thing I noticed from your worksheets when I was grading it is that you guys forgot to use the y numbers for the first problem, I believe, for some of you guys. If you're going to cancel out the y numbers, the next equations that you're going to have to use, you're going to have to use the y numbers, all right? If we use the z numbers, you have to use the z numbers. If we use the x numbers, we have to use the x numbers, all right? So in this case, remember, we'll cancel out the y twins, all right? So I'm going to add this up. Negative 5 minus 1x is negative 6x plus negative 2z plus 5z. That gives me positive 3z. And negative 21 minus 21, that gives me negative 42. Okay, so here's my first star equation, remember? Okay, so that's my first star equation. I'm going to save that for later. Okay, I'm going to save this for later. Now, remember we had 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we used 1 and 3 last time, so we have to use 2 this time. So let's just pick, we have to use 2. And you have to either choose 1 or 3. All right. Let's see what I chose. I think I chose the first. I chose the second one and the first one. All right. So I chose 1 and 2. Okay. So what am I gonna do is I'm going to rewrite 1 and 2. All right. So I put that right on top of each other. So it's gonna look like this. This was equation 1, and this was equation 2. Okay. I'm going to draw my bracket. Okay, and then I'm going to notice my y numbers, not my x numbers, not my z numbers, my y numbers. The reason why is because I canceled out the y twins in the beginning, so I'm going to have to use my y numbers, right? So it's a 4 and a negative 5, so crisscross those numbers, negative 5 and positive 4, and then change one of the signs. And it looks like I changed, let me see what I changed in there. Okay, it looks like I did, let's see, looks like I changed this to a positive 25. Okay, so it looks like I changed this to a positive 25. That makes sense because I don't want to deal with a negative. All right, so remember what you have to do is you gotta multiply everything out. Like multiply this all out 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then multiply the bottom out 4 times. And you should end up with an equation that looks like this. Okay. All right. If I multiply everything out, I get this equation. All right, the top equation. I get the top equation. Again, so I multiplied everything out, and the reason why I want to do that is because then I'm forced to make a good twin and bad twin. If you notice the 20y and the minus 20y. And from there, you can cancel out these numbers and do the same thing you did, add them up, and you get negative 25 take away 4x is negative 29x, negative 10z plus 24z is positive 14z, negative 105 minus 96 is negative 201, okay? So here's my second star equation, okay? So what am I gonna do next is put my two star equations together, all right? So the next slide, I'm gonna show you my two star equations, right? Remember from the beginning, here was my first one, and then I'm gonna have my second one, I'm gonna put it right on top of each other, all right? Here's my first star equation, my second star equation. Now at this point, this turns into the first worksheet that I gave you, classwork number 1, remote, okay? In that worksheet, all you had to do was crisscross the numbers, right? So I'm gonna put negative 29 and negative 6. So we're doing the same thing as the first lesson, right? We're gonna crisscross the numbers, the front numbers. Now I'm gonna change one of the signs. Let's see which one I changed. It looks like I changed the top one, all right? So change only one of the signs, all right? Once I do that, I'm gonna multiply everything across, and you're gonna get large numbers, but it's okay because it should work out at the end. So if I multiply everything out, I'm gonna end up with this guy right here in the bottom, all right? So I multiplied everything out, and I ended up with this guy right here. I'm sorry, this should have been a positive. This should have been a positive. Okay. And this should have been a negative, I believe. Yes. A negative. And this should have been positive is correct. Okay. All right, so again, negative 6 times negative 29 is positive 174, and again, same thing, and we should end up with this. After you get this, you can cancel out the x twins, okay? Add up the rest, and you get 3z equals negative 12, okay? 3z equals negative 12. So again, I get 3z equals negative 12. Okay, divide by 3, and I get z equals negative 4. Okay, so I have one letter. Remember, we need 3 letters since it's 3 variables. Okay, so go back to one of your star equations, so you're gonna have to pick one of your star equations, all right? So I have this as my z equals negative 4. Go back to your star equations. Let's just pick the first one, right? This was my first star equation. This is my second star equation. So again, I figured out that z equals negative 4, all right? So you're gonna have to pick one equation. It doesn't really matter which one. So I'm gonna pick the top one so I can get rid of the bottom one. And you're gonna have to plug it in. Plug in the z. So it's going to be negative 6x plus 3 parentheses negative 4, because I figured out that z is negative 4 equals negative 42. Okay, I'm going to solve it. Negative 6x minus 12 equals negative 42. I'm gonna have to add 12 on both sides. I get negative 6x equals negative 30. I'm gonna have to divide by negative 6 on both sides. Divide by negative 6. Divide by negative 6. And I get x equals positive 5, right? So now I have 3 letters. I'm gonna have 2 letters, the x and the z. All right, so now I have to find my last letter was my y. All right, so what you're gonna have to do is instead of plugging one number, you're gonna have to plug 2 numbers that you found into the original first problem. All right, let's just stick with the first problem. All right, so I'm gonna, let's go to this. All right, So I'm gonna go to the slide. All right, so I picked the first equation. This was the first equation from the original slide. Okay, so I'm gonna plug everything in. So it says x equals 5. So instead of x, I'm gonna put parentheses 5 plus, I don't know what my y is right now, so I'm gonna just put the y, take away 2 parentheses, and my z was negative 4 equals negative 21. Okay, now let's solve this. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25 plus 4y. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8 equals negative 21. All right, combine like terms, combine this, and I get 4y minus, that should be 17, negative 17, I'm sorry, equals negative 21. All right, I have to add 17 on both sides. And I get 4y equals negative 4. Last step, divide by 4, divide by 4. Y equals negative 1. All right, so I have 3 letters, my x, y, and z, and we said my, all right, so I'm going to put that answer here. So we got 3 answers, and to write our final coordinate, we have to write it in 3 letters. Remember, what letter comes first in the alphabet is W, X, Y, and Z. So your answer is going to be 5, comma, negative 1, comma, negative 4. All right, and this is your final answer. Now I know this was a really long problem, but see what you can do. We're gonna be practicing this for 2 more days or 3 days. So if you don't get it the first time, please come see me at the office hours, and we'll see where the error went wrong. All right, so practice this problem once. All right, so and let me know if you guys have any problems. All right, thanks.